Hey everyone, welcome to another review. Today we are going to check out the Platinum Carbon ink. I'm going to test this and see how waterproof it really is. Now this is pigmented ink, so it's waterproof, and this ink is safe for use in fountain pens. But as with any pigmented ink, I would recommend you do maintain your pen, do wash out your pens once in a while, because pigments, they are solid particles. They may clog your pen, so be a bit more careful when you're using pigmented ink, even if it's micro pigment. So the Platinum Carbon ink is actually one of the more expensive black ink out there. This is in a 60cc bottle, so that's 60 millimeter. The bottle design is really nice. This is about 2 or 3 times more expensive compared to other pigmented waterproof ink. This ink is made in Japan. Platinum is a company that also makes fountain pens. Now, one way to quickly tell whether or not the ink is safe for use in fountain pens is to look around the rim here. This applies to ink bottles that you have already opened, of course. So if there are hardened ink particles around, then that ink is probably not safe because the ink has hardened into physical bits. So that will definitely clog up your fountain pen. But here with the Platinum Carbon ink, we see some fine particles, but it's not too bad compared to other pigmented ink that I have seen. Before you use any pigmented ink, you should always shake the bottle to distribute the pigment evenly. Alright, let's take a look at the different types of paper we'll be testing with today. I have the Leda Art Supply sketchbook. The paper here is very smooth. This is supposed to work very well with pen and ink. This is Archer's 100% cold press watercolor paper. This is Canson XL watercolor paper. Winsor & Newton Codman cold press. We have some nice texture here. This is Daler Rowney Aquafine cold press as well. Strathmore writing paper, 25% cotton. So other than the Archers and the Strathmore, these three here, they are not cotton paper. I'm not sure if cotton paper actually affects the ink, but we'll find out. This is one of the 2 pens that I will be using today. This is a Pilot Custom 74 fountain pen. I'm using this pen because it can produce a uniform line. The other pen that I'm using is a dip pen. It looks yucky, but the point is still sharp. That's why this nib is not in the rubbish bin yet. I'm using this dip pen because it can produce a very thick line. Let's start by writing on the Archer's paper. I'm not going to be doing any drawing today. And now with the dip pen. That is a bit too much ink there. I'm going to dry this paper properly, and then we will paint over the letters with water and see if it's waterproof. I laid down a bit too much ink here, so this is going to take a bit of time to dry. This is Canson XL watercolor paper. It looks like the ink, it doesn't feather. I think I spoke too soon. I can see some feathering at the edges. Oh, even with the fountain pen, I can see some feathered edges as well. You can see here, it's more obvious. So it seems like the paper does matter. This is Winsor & Newton cold press. So earlier with the Canson paper, there was feathering. Let's see how it performs with the Winsor & Newton cold press watercolor paper. It looks like there is no feathering. Daler Rowney. The lines, they look sharp. Let's switch over to using the dip pen. Looks sharp enough for me. This is Leda Art Supplies sketchbook paper. I see some feathering here. Let me switch over to using the dip pen again. Definitely some feathering at the edges. Last paper is the Strathmore writing paper. This paper has 25% cotton content. And now let's use the dip pen. So this paper definitely has some issues with the ink. I'm going to wait for all of them to dry properly before I wash over them with water. But right now I can tell you straight away that paper matters, so before you use this ink on the paper that you already have to create art, do test out the ink and the paper combination first, because you don't want to have unexpected results like feathering at the edges. Everything has dried. Now it's time to wet the paper and see if the ink is waterproof. So this is the Arches watercolor paper. It looks waterproof to me. So this is the part that I have written the letters with dip pen. I can see some ink coming off, but I think that's because some areas where there is a lot of ink, especially here, the ink is not bonded with the paper, so that's why it came off. But overall, I would say this is waterproof, no problem at all. Daler Rowney looks waterproof. Looks waterproof as well. Some ink is coming off, but I mean the ink, the letters, they still can retain sharp edges, so this is waterproof to me. Canson XL. So this is the paper where the ink faded. Looks waterproof. And this is also waterproof. Winsor Newton cold pressed. It's waterproof. And here some ink came off, but it's just a bit, so I would consider this waterproof as well. Strathmore writing paper. It's waterproof. And this is also waterproof. And the last paper is the Leda Art Supply sketchbook. Seems waterproof to me. No problem. Overall, the platinum carbon ink looks extremely water resistant and waterproof. You have to be a bit careful though, because the performance depends on the paper that you use. On some paper it actually feathers. I'm not sure why on Canson paper the ink feathered, and even on the Strathmore premium writing paper the ink also has some feathering issues. You see here, this part where I wash over with water, the ink feathered even more after that. This is a quality ink, but I do recommend you test this out on paper that you have or with other mediums like watercolor or even markers before you use this to create actual artwork, because you want to be sure that it performs the way you expect it to be. Overall performance is quite good, just that there are some inconsistencies when it comes to the paper that you use. The ink is very black, so if you need something that is very strong, very contrasty, this is a good ink to get. The downside is this is quite pricey, but the good thing is it has a 60 ml capacity, so it can last for quite a long time. Whether or not you think it's worth it, I think it's up to you to decide. So that's all for my review today. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. If you're also using this ink, I would love to hear from your experience. And if you want to find out where you can buy this ink, you can check out the affiliate links in the video description below. Thanks for watching. I hope this video has been helpful. See you in the next one. Bye!